What's up, everybody? Welcome back to All Things Nerdy with Nate and Joe. I'm Nate. That's Joe. And today we are going to be talking to you about a fun topic, something I never thought I would be talking about on here, but my wife has recently got me into it. And I was like, Joe, let's talk about it because it's fun and it's crazy and all that stuff. But anyways, we'll get into that in a minute. Joe, kick us off.
Yeah. So it's been a minute. So what Nate? What did your friend say it was since the last time we did?
Like 6 months or something like that.
Time flies when you're busy, I guess. It gets crazy. But new year, new topic. We're tackling something that we both are new into. So we'll see how it goes. But without further ado, let's talk nerdy.
Let's talk nerdy. I feel like every episode I'm in a different place. So yeah, like Joe said, we have been busy, right? I've bought a house. We've moved to Charlotte. We've done all the things. We've gotten moved in, all that stuff. Joe's had a lot of life changes and everything. So we apologize that we've been a little absent, but we are happy to be back. We have changed the date on our schedule. We have put it on our schedule. So hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully we can be a little more committed. Although I did have to move the time today because I had a meeting, but
Nate was just like last minute, hey, can we push it back? I was like, I don't maybe let me go check StreamYard and see if we can adjust this time really quick. But it seemed to work out. It looks like it's running smoothly. Got check marks on because we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So
nice.
you cross your fingers and hope everything works. So it looks like we're live.
Yeah. Well, today we're going to be talking about romance fantasy novels, or in the biz, as my wife tells me, romantasy novels.
Romanticities.
Right. Just
street term. What is it called? Smut? Is that the street term?
Smut-filled books. Now listen. When you hear romantasy, when you hear smut, you immediately think just for women, right? Like my wife reads it. A lot of her friends read it. They have book clubs. They have all that. My wife has been trying to get me to read this stuff for I don't know how long. And look, I'm not a big reader, not like I used to be or anything like that. So I'm listening to it. Now, look, I know some people out there are like, it's the same. Some people are like, it's not. That's not the topic. We're not talking about is listening, reading is it the same? Not what it is. But I'm now listening to Quicksilver, and I am a little like intrigued. I'm taken by it, right? It's a good story. It's adult driven. There's curse words. There's gore. There's like, the storytelling ability is so good. And then there's and now look, I'm a sucker for the will they, won't they. So there's always the will they, won't they. So it's like right in my wheelhouse. I'm not going to lie. I'm enjoying it.
Oh, I hate the will they, won't they. I'm just more of like, can you get this over with? I know they're going to get together. Why are we prolonging this? Just make it happen.
See, I like the will they, won't they. I mean, I know it's just a when they and not a will they, won't they. But still, it's fun. The banter, the back and forth. I hate this person, but do you? Like I want them to die, but how sad would you be?
They're my mortal enemy, but are they? Did they really do anything that bad?
But you love them.
Yeah, but you love them. In a lot of the cases, it's a different type of attraction in the books, but. Yeah, so I've been new. I mean, I basically got into this exact same way you did, man. Like I wasn't just like out prowling, like I'm gonna pick up this book. It was, but I started with Fourth Wing, and it was basically like, you really like fantasy books, you like dragons and stuff like that, and I'm a sucker for fantasy world, and I got hooked. I read all the books within like a couple weeks, and then I was like, all right, what's next? And picked up Throne of Glass, and I think there's like 7 or 8 of those books. The last book was like 950 pages. Read all of that, which, I mean, we can kind of debate on if Throne of Glass is a true romantasy book. There is the elements in there, but it is, if you put like Fourth Wing up here as far as like the romance, it's up here.
Hey Joe, I'm so sorry. You're gonna have to talk for a second. I'm gonna have to turn off my camera and my mic. I think my 3D printer is yelling at me. I'll be right back. You keep going though.
Yeah, but Throne of Glass was a lot lower on the like romance part of it. There was still like romantic interest and stuff like that, but just not to the level of Fourth Wing. And now I'm reading Zodiac Wolves, and to the level of that. So I would argue that it still counts as a romantasy. It is fantasy. It has romance, a lot of it in there, but I really enjoyed Fourth Wing, and then Throne of Glass, and now Zodiac Wolves. But I don't know if ACOTAR would be quite up my alley. I've heard things about ACOTAR that made me pick the Throne of Glass series over ACOTAR, even though it's by the same author. No, waiting for Nate to come back here, but
Okay, so my printer was yelling at me, and thankfully it was. My print went sideways, so I had to go pull it all, stop it. But it was okay. So you're reading Fourth Wing. Did you see that they are working on a TV adaptation? I think it was Fourth Wing.
yeah, I did see that. Hopefully, I think it's like been approved for production. They haven't actually started filming, like that kind of thing. I would definitely be really interested in watching it to see how the characters are portrayed and things like that. Like Fourth Wing, it was a romantasy. It was a smut book, but as far as like action, like the world building, the plot, like it had everything. Like I was hooked. Like, and there's still another book that's left to come out, and I'm just like, I'm waiting for that book to drop. And I might reread all three of the other ones when that book drops, just to have it fresh, kind of thing. That's how good that series was. So,
dang. Well, so Joe, first off, the fact that you read that so quickly, but you couldn't start Quicksilver to have to talk about on this show, upsetting. But it's fine.
It's been a busy week. My Monday through Wednesdays are like ridiculously busy.
That's true.
And we did this on Thursday. And I was like, if I would have started it, I would have read like maybe a chapter, and I'm still in the middle of a book. So part of me was like, I can't just drop in the middle of this book and start reading another one. Like it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
But well, how far are you into Quicksilver?
So I am 11 chapters in, something like that. But like you were saying, the world building is phenomenal, right? The description, the way they do it, the way they set it up. Because what I've learned, smut is not there just for the smut, right? Smut is there to help you like envision the world, be connected to the person and their feelings and like how they're going through stuff and everything like that right now. I mean, it's the adult version of that, but it's kind of different the way it does. But the world building is excellent. The character building is excellent. Even like side characters, like there's Everlane, there's Kingfisher, which I hate that name. We're going to talk about that. We're going to come back to that. So there's a king named like Bellicon, right? Or Bellicron, one of those. And they just call him Bellicon. But then there's a person who is not a king named Kingfisher, which is very confusing for your simple brain people like me. Why are we going to call the king not king, and then someone who's not the king king? Is very frustrating. But it's fun. It's fine. Overall, though, the book is good. Its quality is pulling me in. There's already been like Royal Guard chases, theft, smut. There has been a will they, won't they. It's still there, but they're getting closer to the will they, right? It is definitely a win they.
It's building up to the crescendo.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting there, right? And then there's just like the magic, the fantasy. I will look. So this is one thing I do have a problem with. I want to talk about it real quick. So in Quicksilver, and this little bit of a spoiler maybe, so a small disclaimer there. Do we have a spoiler banner? I feel like we do. All right. No, maybe not. Anyways, small spoiler. So in Quicksilver, the Fae were once turned into vampires, but are no longer vampires, but have the canines of vampires. And it's very weird to me that you mix two fantasy creatures like vampires and fae and say like, oh, that's happened. It was very hard for me to wrap my head around. They do talk about the canines constantly, and maybe it's one of the like traits of the fae people in this world, and it's so distinguishable that distinguishes them from humans that they try to talk about it. But it makes it weird. I don't know. I don't like the mixing of fantasy like characters like that.
That's interesting. I mean, in Throne of Glass, there were also Fae, and they had the big canines. They didn't really give a backstory of why, like why the canines were like that. They just kind of that's just who they were, how they were, that kind of thing. That's an interesting mix of the two. I mean, you're still reading it, so it doesn't bother you that much, right? It's like I'm putting this down. This doesn't make any sense. This book is stupid, but it is strange. Like I don't know how I would feel about mixing vampires and then did they explain how they're no longer vampires? Like, did they go into detail of it, or was it just like a brief? This is why their fangs are long, and then continued on.
Yeah, no, they still have the canines. They still have the fangs. They're just not vampires anymore. I don't know. Maybe their blood just like purged the vampireness. I'm not sure because they're magical beings, right? Like Kingfisher, who's not a king, right? Like he can turn into like dark sand and like, right, and stuff like that. So I don't even know how a vampire is gonna like pin one of these things down, like pin them down. What do you do it?
That's duh.
But also like, last time we got on this topic, things got rough. What are we talking about, McCroy? This is our first time ever talking about this.
No. Yeah, let's do whatever. Brett McCroy says, last time we got on this topic, things got rough.
I think he's talking about anime. Last time we talked about anime, baby. This ain't anime. This is books. We talk about.
We're talking about romantasy and fae right now, and apparently some fae are mixed with vampires, and that's how they got their big teeth. I don't know.
Brandon, this is something you should tell Kaylin to listen to and chime in on. This you ain't gonna have nothing to say about this. We started listening to it for our wife. Actually, I'm gonna hit up Kaylin. I'm gonna tell her that she should get you onto this, get you listening to these.
Yeah. Was there a point when you were reading and you were like, okay, I get this. Like, I get the hype. Like, I'm going to continue reading this.
Okay, so he said in the mountains. Oh, you talking about when y'all came up to visit last time? Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. We're gonna just pivot from that, McCroy.
Yeah. Apparently, Nate has an inside joke with McCroy that we're not going to share with the listeners. We'll continue on. Would you like to answer?
Men versus women authors. How do you not remember calls, bro? That was a whole year ago. It was for my birthday, and my birthday's in February, McCroy. I have a lot of conversations, but I do know what you're talking about. So smut, a man writing smut would be perceived different than a woman writing smut. 100%. That is real, right? Also, like, I think, I think
it also goes toward the target audience too, right? Like, I mean, again, most of it is like geared toward women.
Yes.
And I don't know. I'm not sure how the books would be different if a man wrote them, but I would assume that it would not be the same because men and women have very different perspectives and thought processes.
Yeah. Men are driven by different things, right? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like similar, but for women, I feel like they write more about like the connection and the pull and like the things, right? Like it gets graphic. I don't know how graphic I'm allowed to get on here. Can we just put like rated M for mature audiences and I can say whatever I want? I don't know how that works. Anyways, I'm on YouTube. I don't want YouTube to like ban me. But like I feel like dudes would just be like, and I hit that, right? And the women, they just want so much more. And Joe, to answer your question, my buddy Keaton, who does our anime podcast with us, he wanted me to listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl. And I was like, man, if I do that before I listen to Quicksilver for Steph's going to murder me. And my wife will and can murder me. If I die, it was her, just so everybody knows. She could. So I was like, look, play a little bit of it. And if it intrigues me at all, I'll listen to it, right? I'll give it a shot. And she played like the starting part of it. And I was like, well, that's going to be boring. And immediately it was a chase from the Royal Guards because she stole something she shouldn't after like he was like choking her and hitting her and all that kind of stuff. And like she ran and then like her brother got taken. And I was like, dang, this is crazy. This is like the first chapter, right? Like this is not a spoiler. This is introductory to the book. brother got like taken by the guards and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, this is good. This is not just boring nonsense. Like, I'm a DM, I dungeon master. Like, I try to like talk about worlds like this. It's actually helped me be a better dungeon master. It's given me some ideas.
Probably helping you in the dungeon master category, right?
Yeah, 100%. Hearing how they tell stories, how they paint the pictures, and the understanding of it, the large words that I don't understand that make me feel real stupid. It's great.
Mhm. Did you expect to enjoy it as much as you did?
No, honestly, I was like, I'm gonna listen to this for my wife. We're gonna be able to talk about it, and then like it'll be over, and then it'll be something I don't really do. But I'll tell you, like, now I work from home and stuff, but my like 5-minute drive to the grocery store, I put the book on. My 10-minute drive to volleyball, the book's on. My 10-minute ride home, the book's on. And I love it. I'm in it, right? I'll lay down for bed, and if I don't have anime to watch, I'm like, I guess I'm gonna listen to the book until I fall asleep. The other night, poor Steph, I was like, hey, if I fall asleep, just turn it off. I was listening to it. She thought I was asleep. She turned it off. I was like, bro, what are you doing? Turn it back on. We proceeded to do that like 4 times.
You were hooked. You're like, I'm not going to sleep. I'm locked in.
Yeah. She's like, well, I thought you were asleep. And I was like, no. One time she finally did turn it off. And I guess I was asleep because I woke up the next day.
Oh, man. But it's pretty cool. As far as like, again, like the romantic tension along with the world building, like, I don't know, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did or do currently, but yeah, it's definitely surprising, and the authors I've read do such a good job of just tying everything together, pulling at your like heartstrings, like that kind of stuff. Like, it's basically similar to the reasons I like anime, how like pull at your heartstrings, get you like sucked into the world building, stuff like that. It's a lot of the same reasons I'm enjoying the romanticities.
Now, I haven't had the heartstring stuff yet. Nothing in Quicksilver is really like pulled on your heartstrings. There hasn't been a moment where I've been like, oh my gosh. There's been moments where I was like, fuck, that's crazy. Excuse my language, but there hasn't been anything that's been like, oh my God, this is the saddest thing ever. There has been a couple moments where I was like, well, look, you know what's going to happen. Like they write themselves into a corner, and you're like, the only way out of this is this one magical thing. And they're like, oh, this one magical thing happens. Told you.
Yeah. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
But like the books I've read, there's definitely been some like, Jiraiya-esque type stuff, and I'm just like, this is hurting my heart. Like, I felt that loss. Like, they built the character up, and I was like, I'm very sad that character is no longer with us.
Dude, to say Jiraiya-esque, because Jiraiya's death in anime is one of the like hardest deaths that you will get. To say that you've had some Jiraiya moments is wild. That's crazy. That's big praise.
Yep. And then just in my head, I'm like, they're not really like, no, like my brain's like, that didn't actually happen. That was a dream, or, something like that, where your like brain's trying to like will it away, and I'm like, oh my God, they let this happen, that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
Fourth Wing, like, I would recommend to anyone who wants to get their start in romantasy, because it does have all that. It has the world building, the fantasy with dragons. It has the pull at your heartstrings, like, where you feel the loss, you feel the victories, like that kind of stuff.
Well, Quicksilver has some like political tension in it too, which I'm a big fan of. Right, like it's one of the reasons I like Attack on Titan and all that. Like, it starts with a queen who is repressing some people in certain places of their world and things like that. And dude, crazy stat, right? So they're in a desert essentially, for Quicksilver, and they're only allowed in the 3rd division or the 3rd whatever it is 6 ounces of water a day. That's wild. That's crazy. But they use that to talk about what am I looking for here? What's the word I'm looking for? God, I'm drawing a blank. It's been a long day. What's driving the character and stuff like that, like her backstory everything. It's just done so well because like you hear that and you're like, oh my god. And then they tell you a few other things like how they get their water, and it's graphic and it's gross, and you're like, oh, that sucks, right?
I think you would. I think you'd enjoy Fourth Wing just based on that too, because there is a lot of like political stuff in it as well. Oh, we got Kaylin has been summoned.
Yeah, Caleb, what up?
You read any of the Fourth Wing series, Zodiac Wolves? What are some of the big ones? I think she said she hasn't read Quicksilver.
I actually saw your post on Facebook, and I almost put in Quicksilver, but I was like, "There's no way she hasn't read that."
I got you. You let her down. She's probably read ACOTAR if she reads romanticy. I think that's like one of the most famous ones.
What is it?
ACOTAR, a court of
Thorns and Roses.
Yes, Thorns and Roses. Yeah, I was trying to like.
Look at me. I listen to my wife. I haven't read it, but I listen.
It's by the same author as the Throne of Glass series that I read through, but it's just more focused on the romance versus the like the rest of the world and that kind of stuff. From what I've gathered in research and stuff, but I'm not for sure because I haven't read those. But
so what's the next book you're going to, Joe?
I don't know. It depends on how Quicksilver ends for you. I might go for that recommendation.
Now, Steph swears by Quicksilver. Like, if she had me read something that wasn't her favorite one to listen to,
as your first one,
yeah, that would be crazy. So I think it's going to be incredible.
I'm surprised she didn't recommend the one with Shadow Daddy in it. Like, you know,
well, what?
It's Shadow Daddy. That's like one of the characters' nicknames in Fourth Wing.
I've heard about Shadow Daddy.
But so it may. I got to finish the last book of Zodiac Wolves. I think it's book 5. I believe I'm like a third of the way through. So McCroy says she didn't like that series. I don't think you have to be more specific. I listed like 8 series.
I think he's talking about the actor or whatever, the
ACOTAR.
Throne and Thorn and Roses or whatever.
Yeah. And that's why partially why I didn't go with that one, because Melanie said she got through a couple books and stopped, and I was like, well, if you stopped, I'm not going to go read that one next.
Okay, well, I'm definitely not reading that.
Yeah, but a lot of people enjoy it. I guess it just depends on the person.
I got Steph a Christmas sweater that is about some kind of dragons or something. I have the little. So my wife, as some of you know, my wife is like 6'3". So every year we buy each other Christmas sweaters. This year her Christmas sweater arrived. My dumb ass didn't check the adult size. I have a little baby freaking Christmas sweater. If anybody wants it, I'll ship it to you. But you have to be a very small person. But that's what I bought her. So
that's pretty funny. I guess a big thing in these books, and like, I mean, you see it on like TikTok and like any place that has, you know, reels, those kinds of things, is like book boyfriends. Like, like, what do you think? Like, do you kind of get why like they're all over TikTok, like that kind of stuff now that you've read a little bit, or like, were you surprised at most of the love interests that are in the books? Or, you know, they are written differently than they are in other books that I've read, right? Like,
yeah. So I get what you're saying. And so the whole like boyfriend thing, right? I get it, because like a lot of girls don't talk about those things, and these books allow them to like see and feel and like understand and fulfill those types of fantasies. And they think about like, oh, how cool would it be to be with someone that's magical but also like can lay the wood, you know, and stuff like that. And they're like, that would be crazy, you know. Plus every motherfucker they talk about in these books is like a Greek god.
Yeah,
like,
jacked,
come on.
But it's not just the magical aspect of it. Like, a theme that I've seen in all the books that I've read so far is they are possessive. Like they want the world to know that that is their, in some cases it is a mate, like they are like fated mates, like that kind of stuff with the Fae and Zodiac Wolves, that kind of stuff. They want the world to know that that's their mate. They are super possessive and protective, like that kind of thing. Sometimes to the point where they're kind of like on the edge of like, this is aggravating, but I love it, that kind of stuff. But
so Quicksilver, it hasn't gotten to that yet because it's still the will they, won't they. Maybe it gets there, but nah. The dude literally just told him, he's like, yeah, I've slept with many other women. And he straight told her, he's like, if I did to you what I was thinking about doing to you, I'm not sure you would live through it. And I was like, God dang, bro, Jesus.
Oh, that's a line.
Yeah, but he straight told her, he's like, I got side hoes for days.
Kaylin says, sorry, I was in UPS, but yeah, I prefer explosions, burn the city down to his girl kind of thing.
Jesus, what kind of books are you reading, bro?
Well, I mean, it's the, they're a good guy / morally gray, like would literally pick them over watching the world burn kind of thing. I think that's the kind of like relationship that is romanticy.
I mean, I would pick Steph over the world. I wouldn't care, but I ain't gonna like, I don't know. I guess if you mess with Steph, I'd probably like murder you. So who knows?
Look, Quicksilver's already getting a hold of you. Wait till you finish the book. You'd be like, yeah.
That was before the book. That's just who I am. Steph is an independent woman. She don't need no man. But if she came to me and said, look, this man disrespected me, I'd be like, hold my whatever I have in my hands at that moment, right? I'll be right back.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've been like initiated into like a secret book club now that you're like reading romantasy?
Yes, 100%. And I say that because the Charlotte Hornets are hosting a book night to talk about one of these smut series. Me and Steph and a group of other people are going. We get jackets. So it's going to be like whatever book jacket it is, right? And the author is going to be at the game, and it's going to be like all featured around that book. So we are going to an NBA game that is featured around that, and so, yeah, I do feel like I'm on the end,
That's pretty cool. It does unlock conversations that I haven't had before, that kind of stuff. So it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like we could talk about this even though we didn't have anything else in common. But you read this, and I'm reading this, so.
I can ask Steph, like, do you wish I was a former vampire now Fae person? And she was like, oh, you're an idiot. And I'd be like, well, I just wanted to talk about it.
Talk about it. And I guess you're not far enough into it yet, but one of the like basically things I've seen in like every book so far that I've read is they like bite them and mark them somewhere as like to show that they're mine kind of thing. So
has it happened in Quicksilver?
Yeah, as I say, you're still in the will they won't they thing, but I will be interested to see, especially with they've already explained Faye having abnormally large teeth. Like I feel like it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
you gotta update me once.
Well, I'm hoping you get to it. I would like to talk and discuss the book. McCroy, you can't tear down Walgreens. If you tear down Walgreens, that only leaves like 4 more buildings in Coleman, bro. You can't do that.
We got McCoy says something to go tear down Walgreens in your name. And Caitlin says thanks. See, that's not all she ever wanted.
That's love right there. That's love. Go tear down Walgreens. Then lock in down. That's a forever relationship right there.
I wonder if there is like a romance novel written similar to that, where it's like more present day, realistic type. Like I'm really gonna go burn this Walgreens down because they overcharge you for your prescription. So I don't know, but.
And have this. That's right. Fuck Walgreens. Get them, McCroy.
We burn it to the ground.
So I think the problem with that, Joe, is anytime you put magical settings or magical things in today's settings, it's the suspension of disbelief is harder. Right. That's why everything you see is like in the future or way in the past or in just a whole nother world setting. Like they might have some of the same similar things, but it's like it's different. because they need you to disassociate from where you are and believe that there are actual fae in the world and stuff like that. So like if somebody, if you're writing a book and you're like, I'm going to Walgreens and there was a vampire, you'd be like, really?
Yeah. It's like, why does the vampire have to go to Walgreens? The Zodiac Wolves is kind of set in like regular times, that kind of thing. Not necessarily like today's time because the book was written a few years ago, but they keep it basically separated. They don't go to Walgreens, that kind of stuff. But I can definitely kind of see what you're saying. Is there? I know we're coming up on time. Was there any moment that like so far that you've been like you felt super cringy, but you kind of liked it anyway?
Super cringy, kind of liked it in a way. I'm gonna say no, just because like this book hasn't really been cringy. Like Steph did tell me like there's a lot of tropes and stuff like that Smut follows, and I'm trying to pick up on them without her telling me like what the tropes are. I think you've named some, like the possessive, the biting, like marking them and stuff like that. But this has none of that's really happened in this book. None of it has been cringy. Like to date, to this point, right? Like it has all been like fairly good, just storytelling. Like her trying to survive, her doing what she needed because it is a female main character, right? Then like things happen and then like she's surviving there. Like there hasn't been a moment where I was like, that was dumb. You know, like it's all been solid. I will tell you, like the smuttiness isn't just smut for smut though, and like it's not everywhere. Like I text Steph and I was like, bro, the smut is finally starting to smutting, you know. And it took me like 9 chapters for like the first thing, and I was like, dude, it's about time. Like in my mind, the way people talk about it, I thought it was just like fairy corn, you know. And it's just really not that. It's so much better than that.
Well, I'm sure there are probably books that are more like that, but maybe she's starting you slowly.
Maybe. Well, she knows I'm going from this to Dungeon Crawler Carl probably because Keaton. Well, I might do this one and then maybe one of her books and then the Dungeon Crawler Carl, so she doesn't think that I just started listening to him, listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl. But we'll see.
Right. Awesome. Well, we will be back next week to continue the conversation. I will try to find some time to start reading some Quicksilver just so we can kind of sync up on that.
Bro, just listen to it. That's what I do. Just listen to it while you drive or while you're working. Just AirPod, listen.
I like to read it. I'm just not an audiobook person. I don't know.
I will say I've had to ask Steph several things. She's like, I'll be like, did I hear this right? She's like, no, you're an idiot. It's this. I was like, that makes sense.
Well, awesome. Well, see y'all next week. Thanks for joining us, and we'll look forward to more comments, and hopefully Walgreens survives through the night.
Yeah, and we'll talk more specifically about the books next week. We'll walk you through what's happening, what we enjoyed, what we didn't enjoy, stuff like that. So next week there will be spoilers and stuff of that nature.
Yep. All righty. Y'all have a good weekend.